Do something right now. Open your phone. Go to your gallery. Scroll back through the years, weddings, family dinners, holidays, celebrations. Everyone is there. Everyone is smiling. Everyone is in the frame now. Find yourself, and if you're barely there, if you're always the one holding the camera, if decade after decade you seem to vanish the moment someone says, "Okay, group photo, stay with me." Because this video is about something you've never had explained to you before. This isn't about being photogenic. This isn't about vanity. This is about what is actually happening inside your mind the moment the camera comes out, and what that one small behavior reveals about your psychology at a much deeper level by the time this is over. You will understand yourself in a way you probably haven't before. And for a lot of men over 50, that understanding is long overdue. So let's get into it. Picture the moment. Everyone is laughing. The atmosphere is perfect. Someone pulls out a phone and says, "Come on, group photo." And something shifts inside you. Not on the outside, your smile stays. But inside, something tightens. Your mind immediately starts looking for an exit. "I'll take it for you. Actually, I need to use the bathroom. I'm fine here." And just like that, you step out of the frame. And the moment you do, you feel relief. That relief is the problem, because your brain just learned a lesson. Camera equals discomfort. Stepping away equals safety. And now it will do this every single time. Every function, every family gathering, every moment that deserved to be remembered. Until one day you sit down with old photographs and realize you are missing from your own life story. Now let's talk about what is actually going on. Psychologically, when a camera appears and someone starts to feel uncomfortable, that is not simply not liking photos. Psychologists have identified this as something called self-objectification. It is the shift from experiencing yourself as a participant in a moment to experiencing yourself as an object being evaluated. You stop being someone who is living the moment, and you start being someone who is being watched, assessed, and judged. That shift from participant to subject is deeply uncomfortable for any human being. But for men over 50, it carries an additional weight that younger people simply don't have to carry. Because at this stage of life, you are aware that you don't look the way you did at 30. The years have left their marks. Your body has changed. Your face has changed. And the camera is going to record all of it. All the things you'd rather not confront. All the things you've been quietly filing away and choosing not to think about. So the camera stops being a device. It becomes a verdict. This is what you look like. This is your reality. And now everyone is going to see it. Researchers at the University of Toronto studied this in detail. They found that people with lower self-esteem report significantly more negative emotions when seeing photographs of themselves. But the most important finding wasn't that. The most important finding was this: these individuals genuinely believe that the face in the photograph is their true self. The self they are afraid others will judge. The insecurity they carry inside, the self-doubt, the quiet shame they believe all of it is visible on their face in that image. And if other people see the photo, they will see all of that too. So avoiding the photo is not vanity. It is protection. It is the mind saying, if this image does not exist, the judgment cannot happen. And here is the thing about psychological defense mechanisms. They work. In the short term, they work perfectly. But over the long term, they quietly cost you more than you realize. And that cost is not just personal. Memories are not only for you. They are for the people who come after you. Your children, your grandchildren, the people who will one day sit with old photographs and look for you. And if you are not there, if you spent decades stepping out of the frame, they will feel your absence, not as a missing photo, as a missing presence, a gap where you should have been. Now let's go deeper, because there are several distinct psychological layers at work here, and most men have never had them laid out clearly. The first layer is past experience. Many people who consistently avoid cameras can trace it back to a specific moment, often one they don't consciously think about anymore. Maybe someone laughed at a photo of them. Maybe an image was shared without their permission. Maybe a comment was made, one single line, at a vulnerable age, and it lodged itself somewhere deep. The brain attached an emotional tag to that experience. Danger, avoid, and decades later, even in a completely safe environment, surrounded by people who love them, that tag activates the moment a camera appears. The memory doesn't always come back. Only the feeling comes back. And the feeling says, step away. Psychologists call this an emotionally conditioned response, an automatic reaction created by past experience, now triggered without conscious control. This is why so many men say, "I just don't like cameras," without being able to explain why. There is always a reason. Always. It just hasn't been examined. The second layer is social anxiety, and this one is different from self-image concerns. For some people, the discomfort isn't really about how they look in the photo. It's about the attention. That moment when everyone turns toward you, when the entire room focuses on you at once, when you are suddenly, unavoidably, the center of observation. The brain's threat detection system, the amygdala, does not always distinguish between genuine danger and social exposure. For someone with social anxiety, being in the center of a group photo can trigger the same physiological response as a genuine threat. Heart rate increases, muscles tighten, the instinct to escape becomes overwhelming. For men over 50 who have spent decades managing stress, carrying responsibility, and suppressing internal discomfort, this response can be more intense than they expect. And because society has never given men permission to name it, they don't. They just call themselves camera shy and move on. But that label hides something that deserves to be understood. The third layer is perfectionism. And this one is particularly relevant for men who have built something in their lives, a career, a reputation, a standard they hold themselves to. For the perfectionist, a photograph is not a memory. It is a performance review. Every angle is assessed. Every expression is evaluated. And nothing ever quite matches the version of themselves they have constructed in their own mind. There is a psychological phenomenon connected to this called the mirror effect. We are accustomed to seeing ourselves in mirrors, a controlled, slightly flattering, reversed image that we have looked at our entire lives. We have made peace with that image. But a photograph strips the control away. The face in a photo is not the face in the mirror. The angles are different. The expression is different. You look like a stranger to yourself. For the perfectionist, this loss of control, even over something as small as a photograph, is genuinely distressing. And so they prefer the image not to exist at all. The fourth layer is generational, and it is one that men over 50 are uniquely positioned to understand. You grew up in a world where a photo was a physical object. It took time to develop. It lived in an album. it stayed in the family. Privacy was the default today. A photograph can travel across the world in 30 seconds. It can be tagged, shared, screenshotted, and commented on by people you haven't spoken to in 20 years. Psychologists have begun to describe this as digital self-consciousness, the constant awareness that any image of you could end up anywhere, seen by anyone at any time. For men who did not grow up in this environment, this creates a layer of anxiety around cameras that feels unfamiliar and difficult to name. They only know that something feels wrong when a camera appears. They don't always know it's this. But now you do. So what do you do with all of this? The first thing, and this matters more than you might think, is simply to understand it. You are not camera shy. You are not vain. You are not being difficult. You are having a real psychological response with real psychological origins. Naming that honestly is the beginning of changing it. The second thing is about how you treat other men who do this. Because if you have someone in your life, a friend, a brother, a father, who always steps out of the frame, the instinct is to push them. Come on, just one photo. You look fine. That pressure, even when it comes from a good place, reinforces the anxiety and makes the avoidance stronger. The better approach is to make the environment feel safe. Take candid, unposed, imperfect photos. Let go of the idea that everyone needs to look a certain way. Share photos privately before posting them anywhere. These small shifts reduce the emotional threat that cameras have come to represent. And if you are the man who steps out of the frame, there are questions worth sitting with. Not answering right now. Just sitting with. When did this start? When did being seen begin to feel like something to avoid? Was there a specific moment, a comment, an image, an experience that first created this feeling? And that belief underneath all of it, the one that says you don't quite belong in the frame, where did it come from? Who taught you that? Or did life just repeat the lesson often enough that your brain accepted it as truth? These are not easy questions, but they are the right ones. And avoiding them the way you've been avoiding the camera costs more over time than facing them ever would. If working through those questions alone feels difficult, speaking with a therapist or counselor is not weakness. It is the decision of a man who understands that some things require more than willpower to untangle. That is not a small thing. That is, in fact, a rare kind of strength. And here is the last thing I want to say directly. The people who love you, your children, your grandchildren, the ones who will outlive you and carry your memory forward when they look at old photographs 20 years from now. They are not going to zoom in on your chin. They are not going to judge your posture or the way the light hit your face. They are going to look for you, and if you are not there, they will feel it. Not as a missing photograph. As a missing person, the camera captures a moment. But choosing to be in that moment, imperfect, older, real, exactly as you are, that is a choice about whether you believe you deserve to take up space in your own life. You do step into the frame, even if the angle is bad, even if you don't like how you look, even if it's uncomfortable. Being there, just being there, is enough. And the courage to be seen exactly as you are, without editing yourself out. That is where the real psychology of a man who has made peace with himself begins. Now, before you go, I want to ask you something. And I mean this genuinely. Did this hit home? Was there a moment in this video where something clicked, where you thought, that's me, I've been doing that my whole life, and you never had a name for it until right now? If yes, I want to know. Drop it in the comments. Not because it helps the algorithm, though it does, but because when one man says, "This is my story," it gives another man permission to say the same. And that man might be sitting alone right now, thinking he's the only one who feels this way. Your comment could change that. Tell me, are you the man who steps out of the frame? Or do you know someone who is? How long has this been going on? What do you think started it? Write it below. Even one line. Even just "this was me." Because the men watching this who haven't commented yet need to see that they are not alone. And you saying something is how that happens. If this video made you think differently about yourself, even slightly, share it with one man in your life who needs to hear it. Not a big group, just one person. The right person. The one who always ends up holding the camera. And if you want to go deeper into the psychology of how men think, feel, and quietly struggle in ways nobody ever addresses, stay around. That is exactly what this channel is built for.